Question for you. How did you come up with the name?
It's a good question as well. So when I was using ChatGPT for the first time, I remember thinking, man, this is magical. And it's just there's just something magic about it. You put words in and it does things. It's kind of like Harry Potter. Wingardium Leviosa. It does the thing just from your words. And so I was trying to come up with a name. I'm like, I want it to have this combination of magic and AI. To have this this concept of this experience of feeling magical. And I thought magic, AI. Magi, like the wise men who visited Jesus. That's a real word. And just combine the two and came up with Magi. And
that's awesome. One thing I love that you have is something that I always complained about when I first started using AI, or say that you have folders. So give me a little understanding of that, because I think that being able to create folders for things is a unique resource to me. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that I thought of. So there were really two big things out of the gate that I hated about ChatGPT. So that it wouldn't let me search through my old chats. It was just an endless list in the sidebar that I had to scroll through. Was that it? No, is that it? No, is that it?
Oh, you did that too. Okay, I thought it was just me. Okay.
Yeah, no, I hate it. So I built a search bar into it. And then the second thing was folders. So I was extremely organized when it came to my client work, my personal projects, my business. So I wanted to be able to folder off the different things that I was working on. And so I built folders into Magi from day one so that you can, ChatGPT does now have a search. It took them two years. They don't have folders, but they have projects. We call them workspaces. We had those from day one.
Yeah.
And they also have GPTs. So about a year and a half ago now, maybe they released this idea of GPTs. We've always called them personas from day one.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't even call them GPT. So personas. So I was going to ask you about that. So great segue. So I think a lot of, especially in corporate, again, this is focused on corporate people that aren't so savvy in the AI world, but they know it exists. And so can you define that as if you're talking to a fifth grader, the importance of building? And you have a lot of those in Magi, which is great. You already have built-in personas, but give us a little understanding of what that means.
Yeah, so in simplest terms, think of it this way. Every person at your job has a role. Right? They have a role that they are there to fulfill. And that role sort of defines how they interact with the tasks that you give them, right? You give your assistant, a task. She approaches that task like an assistant. Or if you go to, your marketing copywriter, you usually only give them marketing copywriting tasks, right? They approach everything like a copywriter. Every conversation you have with an AI, that AI, whether you know it or not, has been given a role. And that role is predefined in something called the system prompt. So you're going to sit there and you're going to send your prompts to the AI, but it's actually been given a prompt before the conversation even started. And that system prompt is its most important instruction. It is the highest priority for it to filter everything through the lens of that system prompt. What a persona is essentially that role, that system prompt. In Magi, we allow you to sort of customize and create different personas based on the task at hand. And we built personas in because there was loads and loads of data that showed if you give the AI a role and very specific instructions around a given task, you get far better output. You're no longer getting the generic responses to your tasks. You're getting very finely tuned responses that are, exponentially better. Everyone complained in the beginning, like, oh, this sounds like AI wrote it. Well, that's because you probably had it written by a generic AI assistant persona.
Okay, but give me an idea how that works. And I just want you to say it, because if I say it, no one will believe me. So let's have you say it.
I have a persona that is Dustin's blog writer. And what I've done is I've given that AI samples of my writing. And I've said, analyze this writing and then come up with, how you would describe my writing style. And then I had the AI, come up with that summary. And then what I did is I took that summary and I put it into we have a way where you can create a persona. There's a little text box there where you write your instructions. the system prompt for that persona. And I just stuck that in there, saved it, and I made some modifications to be as specific as possible how I want it to write. And so it's just a job description, essentially, telling the AI, you are Dustin's blog writer. Yeah. You write in this style, and then just list out the style. And then when Dustin asks you to write this, here's the format you use, blah, 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 blah. So as specific as you can be, you just give that AI the instruction and you save it in Magai as a persona. So the next time you want to do that particular task, you just open up the box, you say, I want to switch to this persona, and then you start chatting with that AI who is now embodying that personality or that job or that
How
role.
many personas can you have in there?
In Magai, we don't limit you. You can build as many personas as you need. We think of it as your AI workforce. But we do have, when it comes to like which AI model would be best, we have an auto model. So if you look at the list, right at the top it says auto. If you select auto, and then you send a prompt, before that prompt is actually sent to an AI, we have another AI that's going to evaluate the prompt, and it's going to route it to the model that is best suited for that particular prompt.
Got it.
And it's not perfect in every scenario, but it has been trained on millions and millions of different prompts, and understands which AI models are best at what types of tasks, and will attempt to route it to the one that's best for your specific prompt in that moment.
All this for $20?
This guy Louis Dumps over here, he owes me $20.
Really?
All out for $20 a month, yeah.
Dustin, that just seems, and I mean, after looking at all the things that I've paid for over the years, are you kidding? Can I get my money back? My God. Which AI is best?
I think GPT, the newest one being GPT-5, is the most creative. It has the best, most out-of-the-box ideas. Whenever I'm brainstorming and I need different, ideas, or I'm in the early stages of crafting something, I usually go to GPT-5 for the maximum creativity. But it's not a great copywriter. I found the best copywriter, if I want to write something that a human is going to read, I found Claude to be the most human-like writer by far. So anytime I need to write something, I'm going to Claude to help me refine my writing. And primarily Claude for Sonnet. That's my current favorite. I tend to like Gemini for highly structured documents. It tends to be really good at complex structure for like documents type stuff. But when it comes to coding, again, there's debate about this, but I find Claude to be a better code writer, more accurate and more consistent. And this is also why it's such a benefit to have all of them at your disposal. Because when they're all in one place, when they're all just a single click away, you can experiment freely in the same environment, in the same space, so that you can get a great baseline for, I'll try this prompt with ChatGPT. Okay, that was okay. I'll try it again with Claude. Okay, I'll try it again with Gemini. Once you start to play a little bit with them, you'll find very quickly which one fits what you're looking for best.
How about editing? Like, how many pages can it take for editing? If you wanted to edit a book or anything, could you just drop the whole PDF in there, or do you have to have a certain limit?
Yeah, so different models have different limits. Many people don't know this, but AI actually has a very limited memory. You might have a conversation that goes on for days and days and days and days, but at some point you might realize, wait, did you forget about this other thing that we said up here? And the reality is probably, because Claude, for example, has the technical term is a context limit. The context limit of Claude is 200,000 tokens. A token could be a word, or it can be a fraction of word, or it can be multiple words. It really is an abstract thing that the AI models, it's the relationship between characters and the relationship between, it's all math, essentially.
Okay.
But suffice to say, 200,000 tokens is roughly about 160 to 170,000 words.
And that is for the paid version or the free version, or both?
For all versions.
Okay.
They all have that same limit.
Okay.
Now, so that's Claude, right? OpenAI has a 400,000 token limit. So twice as much as Claude.
Okay.
But then they have GPT 4.1, which has a 1 million token limit.
Okay.
And then you have Gemini. There's one version of Gemini that has a 2 million context window. No, think of it like this. Think of it like a memory stick. You know, you and I are old enough to have gone through, memory of, floppy disks and thumb drives.
I got
thumb
8-track on my background, buddy. So
there you go. Yeah. So, the idea of like a thumb drive, for example, or even our phones, before our phones had like ridiculous amounts of memory, you'd fill it with photos, right? And you don't have any more storage. So what do you have to do? You have to delete some of the photos to make more room. So that's essentially what the AI is doing in real time. When you hit that max limit, it's going to actively, from the beginning, start to remove items from its memory so that it's always staying within that context limit.
Got it. Okay. Good to know.